Today we have very distinguished speakers gracing the occasion. I welcome Professor Vijay Bhatkar, Padma Awardee, Founder Director General of C-DAC, and presently Chancellor of Nalanda University. Professor U B Desai, former Director of IIIT Hyderabad and Emeritus Professor. Professor Sadagopan, former Director IIIT Bangalore and Emeritus Professor. I welcome Joint Secretaries, senior officials from MeitY and other associated organizations and my colleagues from MeitY. I welcome all other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from media who joined either online or offline. Today we have gathered on Engineers Day, birth anniversary of Bharat Rathna awardee Shri M. Visvesvaraya to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by launch of the event seeking nomination of scientists, technologists, tech champions who have contributed to India's rise in electronics and information technology. The nominations are being sought.
Recording in progress.
Nominations are being sought from citizens on MyGov portal www.innovateindia.mygov.in through crowdsourcing. The constituted committee by MeitY will select champions from nominations. The last date of receiving the nominations will be 7th November 2021, the birth anniversary of Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. Subsequently, the announcement of select tech champions will be made by MeitY. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is a scientific ministry, and it is very apt to celebrate the Amrit Mahotsav with scientists, technologists who have made outstanding contributions in the journey of nation in the field of electronics and IT in the last 75 years. To begin with, we have eminent speaker, Professor Sadagopan, former director IIIT Bangalore. He was the first director of IIIT Bangalore during 1999 to July 2021. Earlier, he taught for 20 years at IIT Kanpur and IIM Bangalore. He has been writing and lecturing on all aspects of IT across the globe in the past 4 decades. Sir, may I request you to deliver the address?
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam. And Honorable Minister, Mr. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, and our academic friends and all others. It is indeed a privilege and honor to be with you. For the next 5 minutes, what I will do is quickly go over the major contributors to Indian IT in the last 74 years. I will go decade by decade. 47 to 56 was primarily a stabilization period for the young republic. The 57 to 66 saw Professor R. Narasimhan of TIFR building a full-fledged digital computer grounds up, aptly called TIFR Automatic Computer, TIFRAC. In Calcutta, Professor P.C. Malhanabis was doing pioneering work at Indian Statistical Institute, and he continued his work in New Delhi in the Planning Commission. In the 67 to 76 decade, saw IITs starting full-fledged degree programs in computer science. Professor Rajaraman at IIT Kanpur was pioneering through CS textbooks. Professor Isaac at IIT Bombay through computer education for schools, and he even ran a magazine called Computer Education for You. Professor H.N. Mahabala at IIT Madras pioneering expert systems. Indian Railways and LIC pioneered large applications. And as a policy planner in Delhi, Professor M.G.K. Menon was the first secretary of the newly constituted Department of Electronics. Going to the next decade, 77 to 86, saw TCS with Dr. F.C. Kohli and Dr. S. Ramadurai getting into center stage. And then this decade also saw the birth of HCL, which Mr. Shivanadar, Ajay Chaudhary, and Arjun Malhotra. The starting of Wipro with Mr. Asim Premji, Ashok Soota, and Sridhar Mitta. And in parallel, Sam Pitroda created the C-DAC, and the unusual combination of scientist, administrator, and administrator who was very favorably disposed to the science ministry, Dr. Seshagiri and Mr. Vittal, did pioneering work through computer policy and new telecom policy, and created NIC and STPI, which helped in the IT services industry. Dr. Keshav Noori of IIT Kanpur pioneered theoretical computer science, and the famous FSTTCS conference, fairly well regarded, started. The next decade, 87 to 96, saw the birth of Infosys, thanks to Mr. Narayanamurthy, Nandan Nilekani, and Chris Gopalakrishnan. Elsewhere in Delhi and Bombay, Dr. Ramani and Dr. Ramakrishnan started the ERNet that brought internet to India. Our co-panelist, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, led C-DAC and created the Param supercomputer and the supercomputing movement in India. The next decade, 97 to 2006, saw the arrival of the next generation of IT companies like MeitY with Ashok Soota, Subrato Bakshi, and Krishna Kumar. This decade also saw the arrival of the first generation of IIITs at Gwalior, Hyderabad, and Bangalore, and the pioneering language translation work done by Professor Pushpak Bhattacharya at IIT Bombay and Professor Rajeev Sangal at IIIT Hyderabad. 2007 to 16 saw AKS primality tests, the research work of Professor Manindra Agarwal of IIT Kanpur, taking the Indian computer science research to global headlines. It was a proud moment for all of us. It also led to Professor Manindra Agarwal bagging the Godel Prize. Professor Pandurangan at IIT Madras and Vimal Roy at Indian Statistical Institute created a theoretical conference in computer science out of India called Indo-Crip. Professor Pathak and Professor Sarda at IIT Bombay helped the government in pioneering applications including National Stock Exchange, NPCI, and Aadhaar. And the last 5 years saw the emergence of world-scale startups and unicorns promoted by technologists as well as business leaders. The notable ones being Mr. Naveen Tiwari founded the InMobi, Mr. Sachin Bansal founded the Flipkart, Mr. Hari Menon founded the Big Basket, Mr. Rani Screwwala founded Upgrad, Vijay Shekhar Sharma founded the Paytm. Professor Parthiv Pratim Chakravarti of IIT Kharagpur and our other co-panelists, Professor U B Desai, have been doing pioneering work in taking undergraduate education in AI, ML, and data science education in the past 5 years. So I just thought that it is kind of good to take stock of amazing leaders and amazing work that has happened. So I just thought I will stop here and over to you, Geeta. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for giving us panorama of IT icons. Thank you so much. Now I request Professor U B Desai, Emeritus Professor and Founder Director of IIT Hyderabad from 2009 to 2019. Professor U B Desai received the BTech degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, MS degree from the State University of New York, USA, and the PhD degree from the Johns Hopkins University, USA, all in electrical engineering. He is the recipient of J.C. Bose Fellowship. Sir, may I request you to address, please?
Thank you very much, Geeta, for the introduction. Honorable Minister of State, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, Shri Ajay Sahani, Secretary MeitY, Special Secretary and FA, Ms. Jyoti Arora, Professor Bhatkar, eminent engineer and chief architect of India's supercomputer mission, Professor Sadagopan, former director of IIIT Bangalore, other distinguished members and colleagues. It is indeed an honor and pleasure for me to be part of this gathering, and I'm extremely thankful to MeitY for giving me an opportunity to say a few words at the launch of the tech champions who contributed to India's rise in electronics and IT. Professor Sadagopan has given a fairly good, very comprehensive history in a very succinct, 4 to 5 minutes. I think that's quite remarkable. A large number of people that he mentioned have made major contributions to India's IT and communication technologies. There are many others also, too many of them to be enumerated, to be compiled in a short meeting. We hope many more names will come forward as we go along. If I were to look at it, I would say, indeed, if MeitY were a person, it would be the champion of champions towards India's rise in electronics and communication and information technology. MeitY has gone through many avatars: DOE, DIT, MCIT, and now, of course, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. In each avatar, MeitY has supported R&D in leading areas of electronics, communication, and information technology. Some of these are development of supercomputer, ERNet, which brought internet to India, microelectronics, wireless communication, biomedical, in particular use of electronics and communication and information technology in healthcare, national knowledge network, and many, many other areas. In recent times, MeitY has been at the forefront of supporting R&D in cutting-edge areas like nanotechnology, wireless sensor networks, IoT, 5G, 5G+, 6G, tabless chip design, drones, AI, quantum communication and computing, and many others. Being Engineers Day, it is incumbent on me to acknowledge that the Visvesvaraya Fellowship for PhD students which has been a great initiative of MeitY to enhance high-quality PhDs in the broad area of ICT. And this has been a big boon to youngsters in our country. I must mention that MeitY has always been ahead of the curve. Whenever professors from IISc, IITs, other leading organizations, research labs like C-DAC, approach MeitY to start a new and challenging area for research and development, MeitY always supported us. MeitY support has been the backbone for R&D in cutting-edge areas of electronics, communication, and information technology. We hope it will continue to be the backbone. Entrepreneurship is another area where MeitY has made significant contribution. Of course, the entrepreneurship is focused in the broad areas of ICT. In fact, it is my opinion that if one were to look at the startups that have emerged from all the R&D projects that MeitY has supported, the contribution to employment and GDP would be quite remarkable. I say would be because I do not have the full data at hand. I make this comment based on small sample observations and an educated extrapolation. Thus, MeitY's contribution should be looked not just from tangible support, like supporting R&D activities, Visvesvaraya fellowships and other things, but also from non-tangible outcomes. The effect of startups that have come because of MeitY funding, not directly to startup, but the R&D which was given to IITs, R&Ds which was given to IISc, R&D which was given to IIITs, many startups have come. It will be wonderful to compile them and really look at what contribution it has made in an overall monetary sense. Many a times in life, I would say non-tangibles actually outweigh the tangibles, and we should never ever ignore that. I must thank MeitY and compliment MeitY for launching the event for tech champions who contributed to India's rise in electronics and IT, and that too on Engineers Day, September 15. I'm sure the event for tech champions will be a grand success, and the recipients will be very proud to get this particular honor. Once again, I thank the Honorable Minister of State, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, Secretary MeitY, Mr. Sahani, Special Secretary, Madam Arora, Professor Bhatkar, and all other distinguished members and participants in this particular event. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. And always you are there for guidance and mentoring communication and broadband technologies working group also. So thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Vijay P. Bhatkar to deliver the address. And before that, although he needs no introduction, honored with Padmabhushan, Padma Shri, Maharashtra Bhushan, and a string of national awards and honorary doctorates, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar is best known as an architect of India's first supercomputer Param and several pioneering contributions to information technology in India. He did his PhD from IIT Delhi in 1972, where he was acclaimed as its distinguished alumni and went on to become its chairman of the governing council. Currently, he is the National President Vibha, Chancellor Nalanda University, and guiding India's notable national initiatives in science and technology, as well as in arts and humanities. May I request you, sir, to deliver your address, please.
Honorable our new Minister of State, Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, I think seeing after a long time, directly, yeah. Our beloved Secretary, which was driving now the electronics missions and electronics movement, our distinguished friends, my colleagues, professors, as we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, it's a great year for some years are more distinguished than other years. And we as a nation, we are celebrating our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I remember one very important issue that as we are celebrating 75 years of our independence, I think another important event in the today's context is that this year, I think 75 years back, I think there's one major thing happened, and that I think affected, that certain thing that impacted the whole world, and that was the birth of transistor. The birth of transistor, which came at the time of independence, kind of things, and all the inventors got the Nobel Prize, and they were celebrated, though they were almost at war with each other. But that was a great event for transistor. Transistor gave birth to the field of electronics, and that's why we stand here. It's a $1 trillion industry today, I think. So this says that one invention or one innovation, how it impacts the world, and it changed the humanity. Actually, changed the whole world. And the second event, which really contributes to the thing that before that, Alan Turing, and before I think really contributed to was the von Neumann architecture, which gave birth to the computing and computing movement in the world. And then there was another event which is also celebrated, is the birth of microprocessor. I think I'm just referring to these are the great events of how innovation contributes the change of the course of humanity. I don't want to say more on this issue, but I think this is the industry which contributed. One industry, I remember Atalji's words, very remarkable. In 1998, he had formed the IT task force, and the whole issue was that how can we take forward. Atalji, in a poetic way, asked the people present, who was present at that moment, ऐसी कौन सी बात है कि जो बदल के हम पूरा देश बदल डालेंगे. So we are all IT industries, people around him, and he said there is one. I think there is one industry which can act. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि there is one industry is there, and that is the IT industry. IT industry is India's tomorrow. I think here it was the first time, because Rajiv Gandhi's contribution also must be noted, because he started the computing movement in that sense. But Atalji says that he made a slogan, IT is India's tomorrow. I think that coming from him was very important, a statement for the country. And people addressed at that time, I saw Professor Sadagopan and Professor Desai, I think, mentioned about them, who contributed. Several people contributed to the IT industry. But these prophetic statements, which came from Rajiv Gandhi and later from Atalji, were very important to set the direction for the whole nation. I think today, I think we need to ask the same question. What can we do in the IT industry? Today, IT industry is $200 billion industry. We never imagined that this industry will grow so fast. Atalji has asked us that 10 times in 10 years, which is that industry. So that was identified as IT industry. It had moved from $50 billion to $50 billion. And then he said, IT is India's tomorrow. I think that was a very prophetic statement. And I think many people contributed to it. And there is, I think, we saw the history of the whole thing. But today we need to talk like that. $200 billion to $1,000 billion. Can we do that? Can we do that magic? Once again, I believe on behalf of my colleagues, and I see that if we take the right steps and the advancements that are coming in this field, particularly the quantum thinking and quantum technologies which will come, this will revolutionize the entire human societies of the future. I think it's a great thing that we are celebrating Amrit Mahotsav, and then we need to make a resolution that what we can do for next 10 years. Thank you. And that's the potential of our industry. So your coming is very important, and we should set that kind of direction here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So now I request Shri Ajay Sahni, sir, Secretary MeitY, to address the August gathering. He is an IAS officer of Andhra Pradesh 1984 batch. He has handled various assignments in the state government of Andhra Pradesh and union government. He has widely been credited for playing a major role in easing policy and encouraging Digital India Initiative and Make in India Initiative through policy reforms. This has helped transform India into an electronics manufacturing hub for the largest mobile and consumer electronics companies of the world. He has also catalyzed the establishment of IIIT Hyderabad. May I request you, sir, to deliver your talk.
Respected Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, Professor Vijay Bhatkar, Professor U B Desai, Professor Sadagopan, our Special Secretary Jyoti Arora ji, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Geeta Katpalia, and other colleagues who have joined this meeting. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm humbled to be in the presence of stalwarts like Professor Bhatkar and Professor Desai and Professor Sadagopan. I've had wonderful interactions with them in various stages of the career, and it's wonderful to have them along with us on this occasion. As we are celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and also the Engineers Day, I think it's a wonderful occasion to think of those that have contributed to bringing us to where we are, to laying a very strong foundation, to creating the ecosystem that today helps us get India counted among the top IT nations in IT and IT-enabled services with some of the largest companies in the world. In many scientific endeavors, including high-performance computing, where we have kept our presence, where we have made some name, in being able to establish significant research and education networks like the National Knowledge Network, which now moves into the next avatar, in establishing national and state data centers, and now witnessing the establishment of large-scale, hyperscale data centers with private investment, in various other areas. We have not just kept our presence, we have built a strong foundation, including fledgling areas like 5G, where in spite of a tremendous paucity of resources, we have kept ourselves in the game. We must also recognize that large number of countries across the world are not in this game in any significant manner. There are very few countries that get counted in the core areas of technology, while we also must acknowledge that there's tremendous amount of work to be done further. It is heartening to have a strong foundation to build on. If we have to grow right from zero, it would be that much more difficult, almost impossible. But we do have strength that has been created, and the shoulders on whose, those on whose shoulders this foundation has been created, it's important that we recognize them, that we acknowledge their contribution, that we celebrate what we have been able to achieve with their guidance and help. With that in mind, in a new manner, which is basically making use of MyGov and our important citizen engagement platforms, under Honorable Minister's guidance, we are taking forward this invitation to members of the public to name and to sort of nominate those whom they consider technology champions, who have contributed very significantly to where we have come, and who might otherwise remain unacknowledged and sort of, never really find their names anywhere. While this is not really a formal award, it is a way for us to acknowledge those that have contributed and to bring their names out into the public domain. So, thanks a lot to such senior scientists, distinguished scientists who have agreed to be with us to help us on this journey. It will take a fair amount of effort to be able to sift through the kind of nominations that we get and to bring out something that meets the requirement. As we embark on this journey, sir, it's once again I would like to express my pleasure that we are getting into this and doing what possibly ought to have been done much earlier, but it's good to get started now at the time of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Thank you so much. And thank you, Professor Desai, for Professor Sadagopan for really helping us remember major stalwarts who have contributed, and Professor Desai for his especially warm sentiments towards electronics, Department of Electronics, DIT, MeitY, etc. Thank you so much.
Fully deserved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Secretary, sir, for all this guidance. Thank you. So now I request Honorable Minister of State to launch the event seeking nominations of scientists, technologists, tech champions who have contributed to India's rise in electronics and information technology, which will be followed by a video. Sir, thank you. Yes, sir.
देश के नागरिकों को सशक्त बनाने में आज ई गवर्नेंस, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और आईटी अहम भूमिका निभा रहे हैं। विश्व में भारतीय प्रौद्योगिकी की जो पहचान है वो एक दिन में नहीं बनी है। इसके पीछे है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और आईटी के क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले हमारे टेक चैंपियंस। आइए आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव के एक अंग के रूप में हम अपने उन चैंपियंस को सम्मान दें जिन्होंने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और आईटी में भारत को पहचान दिलाने में योगदान दिया है। आप भी अपने टेक चैंपियंस को नामांकित कर सकते हैं। विजिट करें innovateindia.mygov.in।
So may I now request Honorable MOS to address the gathering, please.
Professor Bhatkar, Professor Sadagopan, Professor Desai, Secretary Sani, Jyoti Arora ji, Geeta Karpale ji, and everybody else on this program. Thank you all for being here this evening for what I consider a very important event, not just in terms of celebrating India's 75 years of independence and not just celebrating Engineers' Day, but also celebrating the long journey and the long road that we have traversed as a nation and as a people to becoming one of the world's leading technology powers today, and has been due to the contribution of many thousands of nameless, faceless professionals, scientists, and innovators over the years. On 15th of August this year, you are all aware, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the ramparts of the Red Fort said very clearly, this is India's moment. This is the moment for India. This is the moment for India to seize. And in a lot of ways, he was pointing the nation to the next 25 years. Even as we celebrate the last 75 years, it is also a time to look forward to the next 25 years. And more than any single thing that we have done as a nation, I think our prowess in technology, our capabilities in technology that have brought us so far have a huge bearing on where we will go in the next 25 years. And let me just say a few words on how I think of this, and I won't make this too long. It is clear that in the recent years, the digitalization of our economy, digitalization of the intensity of the presence of digital technologies in our country has significantly grown. And you can see that it is making an impact on governance and democracy with really structural tectonic changes in the way governments and people interact with each other. It has expanded our digital economy and created opportunities, the kind of which we have never seen, either in entrepreneurship, in terms of employment, jobs, and growth. And it has also created a certain sense of confidence in our country about leading state-of-the-art technologies that are going to be very, very relevant in the coming years and decades. I am, as Professor Bhatkar referred to Atalji, I am extremely privileged to have worked in close quarters with both Atalji and with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji now. And both of these leaders had a tremendous faith in the power of technology not just from an economic point of view, but power of technology from a point of view of altering the trajectory of this country and trajectory and quality of our democracy. And so in a lot of ways, as we look forward to the next 25 years, and especially in the post-COVID era of the next 25 years, where in the post-COVID context, things are changing dramatically in terms of how the world sees its technology supply chains, how the world views this technology as very strategic, and alliances are being formed and changes in the world order are being created. The role for India to be a global provider of technology services and digital services has suddenly become much larger. The opportunity has become that much greater, and the pie, if you want to call it that much bigger. And in a lot of ways, it casts a responsibility on MeitY as a ministry and the government of India to make sure that the next wave of entrepreneurs, the next wave of scientists, the next wave of technologists are all ready to take India, to make India avail of this huge opportunity in the coming years. And I believe that is where that is the context in which this event is being held. This traveling down memory lane that Professor Sadagopan did very effectively, and and then touched upon in different ways by Professor Desai and Professor Bhatkar, is not just nostalgia. In my opinion, the heroes of tomorrow, the champions of tomorrow need icons of yesterday. And it is very important that they see that the last 75 years did not happen by fluke. The last 75 years did not happen because God decreed it or it was a matter of fate. It happened because of the tireless effort, the innovations, the creativity, the dogged perseverance of a large number of very, very sharp minds through years and through decades. And this whole effort at recognizing tech champions is about not just, as Mr. Sani said, a belated celebration of their achievements, but it is also a very important way to inspire the current generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of scientists, the next generation of technologists, and when I say next, I mean current and next, that the heavy lifting, the great opportunities that exist in the coming years are in a lot of ways made possible because of the efforts and dedication and the success of the last 75 years of technologists and tech champions. So again, I join Secretary Sani in thanking all of you for being here. I repeat again that I concur with him that this is a celebration which is belated, much overdue, but I'm glad that I get to do it today rather than do it at a later date. This is a coming together of many, many good things. It is a country celebrating 75 years of independence. We are celebrating Sir Visvesvaraya, and we are celebrating the achievements of our stalwarts of previous years. And I believe we are also celebrating the strong, bright future of digital India and a digital world. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to mention when first time I mentioned that we want to celebrate this event. And since then, sir is consistently insisting and making effort that we should do it. And today, whatever we are doing, it is because of sir.
I want to just, and not because you said it, Geeta ji, I want to just end by saying thank you to Geeta ji, who started off being very nervous trying to arrange this event. She thought this was a very difficult event to arrange, but I'm glad you did it, and I am grateful and thankful that you did it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request Srimati Meenakshi Agarwal, scientist, for vote of thanks, please.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and Information Technologies, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, Secretary MeitY, Shri Ajay Prakash Sani, Special Secretary and Financial Advisor, Ms. Jyoti Arora, Additional Secretary, Shri Rajendra Kumar, GCs of MeitY, Professor Vijay Bhatkar, Padma Awardee, Professor U B Desai, Emeritus Professor and former Director, IIIT Hyderabad, Professor F. Sadagopan, former Director, IIIT Bangalore, friends from media, and my colleagues of MeitY. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the learned guests on this occasion. We are deeply grateful to Honorable Minister of State, Shri Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, for presiding over this event and for an enlightening address. Sir, I thank you for presiding over this event today. I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to Secretary MeitY Shri Ajay Prakash Sani for gracing the event. I express my deep gratitude to SSNFA Ms. Jyoti Arora for her august presence in this event. I am thankful to AS Dr. Rajendra Kumar for his timely guidance and mentorship. I am grateful to Professor Vijay Bhatkar, Padma Awardee, for accepting our request to grace this occasion and sharing his thoughts. I am extremely thankful to all the esteemed speakers, Professor U B Desai, Emeritus Professor and former Director, IIT Hyderabad, and Professor S. Sadagopan, former Director, IIIT Bangalore, for their gracious presence in the event and addressing the gathering. I am sure that their thoughts will ignite minds, generate fresh ideas, insights, and technical solutions to our country's challenges. I am thankful to Srimati Geeta Katpalia, Group Coordinator MeitY, for the initiative she took in handling this event. I express my sincere thanks to all the esteemed guests who have taken keen interest in the program and spared the valuable time for making themselves available for this event. We wish to express our gratitude to all the organizers, especially members from NEGD, for their constant support in scrupulously organizing this event, and also officials from MeitY and MyGov who have worked with great dedication to make this program a success. I also express sincere thanks to media persons for giving an excellent coverage to our program. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, with your permission, we can close the function.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.